happy to speak to you, and what a privilege. Like I love the work that you do, and the fact that you're just making a real difference. I get your emails. I'm like, oh, I wish I was a new teacher again, because that is exactly, and it's still relevant and useful, but I'm like, that is exactly what the email that I would want to get as a.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's so good, and what you guys are doing is amazing, and I watch in awe, and to get to contribute something to your audience is a privilege.
We take no prisoners. You've got a newborn. Strap that baby to your chest. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, Olive would have loved it. She's my chill pill. Except now she's a 3-anger. But yeah, there's a reason Ashley does our socials and our marketing, because she is highly efficient and she is highly consistent, and she is one passionate gal. So when it came to the podcast, I knew it was something important to her, but she was very patient, and she planted the seed, and she was watering, and she was looking after the soil. And she was like, eventually the little sprouts were coming, and she went.
But I'm actually really glad that we waited, because we were able to do it and do it consistently.
I've got an idea. And she went, wow, this sounds great. I'm about to have a baby. I've got nothing else to do. So I, liked doing Clipper. Ashley had a brain for resources. I also like creating resources, but I kind of went down the easier route. And it was just really organic how it happened for us.
Welcome to Rainbow Skies for Teachers, the go-to show dedicated to teachers who want to make a big difference in education. Whether you're in your first few years or well into your teaching career, we are here to inspire, support, and empower you with bite-sized tips, simple strategies, and the motivation to lead an education revolution, one classroom at a time.
We're Ashley and Alicia from Rainbow Sky Creations, two Aussie teachers who love all things teaching and learning. We are here to help you thrive as you work toward making an impact in your students' lives while loving your life as a teacher.
We are here to help you bring joy, simplicity, and creativity into your classroom on the daily, because
there are rainbows ahead, my friend, and together we're unstoppable.
Let's get into today's episode.
Rainbow Sky Creations acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we record this podcast on, the Dharawal and Whadjuk Noongar people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
Oh my gosh, welcome back to the 100th episode of Rainbow Skies for Teachers.
Oh my gosh, Ash, we've done it. 100 episodes. And thank you to all our listeners out there, because we couldn't do it without you.
No, we certainly couldn't. And we'd love to know if you have been here for all 100 episodes. I wonder if there's anyone out there that has been here for all 100. That's a lot of talking. I know.
It is.
I mean, both of us haven't even been here for every single episode, because
No.
you've done some episodes, I've done some episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got like a whole bunch of interviews that are coming up. It's great. I find myself, when I'm listening to podcasts, I do it on walks. So I feel like the amount of minutes I listen to accumulates to either the amount of laundry I've folded, the amount of walks I've done, or cleaning of my house I've done.
Yes. Mine is very big on the laundry, and just any sort of activity that I don't want to do, I'll put a podcast on to make myself feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best. So we're here. We've made it to 100 episodes, and by the rate we're going, we'll be here for another 100, which is exciting. So what are we going to do today, Ash?
Well, I think before we dive into the actual episode, we need to thank Rosie, our podcast editor, because she is a part of the team. And honestly, Rosie, we couldn't do it without you.
Yes, we'd be lost without her. It would be diabolical what you'd be listening to. So credit to her for making us sound amazing and making it just a really good listening experience for everyone.
So today's episode is something a little bit different to what we've done before, and it's been highly requested. We're going to do it to celebrate our 100th episode. It's an Ask Me Anything episode.
And please let me know if you love these episodes as much as I do on other podcasts I listen to.
I know, Alicia was saying when we decided to do the Ask Me Anything, she's like, oh yes, I love these sorts of episodes. I was like, really?
Yeah, I do. I feel like you get a little insight into somebody else's brain, and it kind of deviates off the regular train of thought. So I do.
I suppose this is the yin and yang of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's shining through. So we've got a couple of questions that people have sent in. We asked via email and we asked on our Instagram. So we've got the questions, and let's just throw them out there and we'll answer them.
Let's go. What's the first one we're going to start with?
All right. The first one is tell us how you transitioned from classroom to creators and who inspired you.
Yes.
This is an interesting question.
It is, Nanetta. It is an interesting question. Sounds like you might be looking at going from classroom to creator. And it's been a very slow burn for Ashley and I. Quick backstory. I had been living overseas. I moved to Sydney and I knew one person in Sydney, and that was Ashley. And I arrived in Australia in August. And if you're a teacher, you know that's not really the best time to start a job. So Ashley was about to pop out a baby. I liked creating with TPT. We're talking like, what, 2015 here, 2015. Yes. So I'd been overseas in Dubai. People were using TPT. I was like, I like creating resources. I like creating. And so I said to Ash, do you want to come along for a little ride with me? I've got an idea. And she went, wow, this sounds great. I'm about to have a baby. I've got nothing else to do. So I, liked doing Clipper. Ashley had a brain for resources. I also like creating resources, but I kind of went down the easier route. And it was just really organic how it happened for us. And it was a slow burn. And no one really inspired us. It was just an idea. And it thought, let's give it a go. So 10 years ago, we started tinkering, and it wasn't official until 2016 that we went, hey, maybe we'll give this a go.
Yeah. You didn't
really give this a go.
You didn't mention you sore back. Remember you had the sore back, and so
yes.
you couldn't really go into a lot of casual teaching because of your back.
Yeah, and I was in a new place and I was re-assimilating to Australia after living in Dubai for 4.5 years. So, look, I was happy to be a bit of a recluse, and then, blew my lower disc, herniated my disc in my early 30s. Like, come on, what was I thinking doing those bad weight training back then? Oh, yes. So it was a really natural progression. And I didn't officially leave the classroom until I had my first daughter 5 years ago. And you're around the same time with...
Yeah, so I didn't leave the classroom until I had my third child, Quincy, who was born just before your first, Lena.
Yeah.
So I had a bit of an extended maternity leave with her. I went off work early because I just felt like that baby was going to fall out at any second.
I think that's what happens with your third. And if you have a fourth and a fifth, like it's like, oh, it's just holding it together here.
Would you call yourself a teacher creator? What do you call you? What's your job, Alicia?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I always say to people, like, I work for myself. I always say I'm self-employed and I create teacher resources for teachers, games and activities. I feel like teacher author is like a big one that's used, but I only recently didn't renew my teacher registration because I'm not going to meet the requirements. So I didn't renew it this year. So I'm kind of like, I love being a teacher, but I feel like it's not front and center anymore in a way, but it is.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Oh, I'm having an identity crisis. What about you? What do you call yourself?
I generally call myself a teacher. If I'm talking to a Gen Z, sometimes I'll say I'm a content creator for teachers because my sister-in-law, who is a Gen Z, she's much younger than me, described me that way once. And I was like, oh, yeah, like I can understand how people would understand that because I do a lot of the social side of things. So everything on social media and the blog, that's my part of the business. But if I was going to explain it to my mum or my mum's friends, oh, I don't know.
I just say I run an online business.
Yeah, that's mostly what I say too. That helps teachers.
Yeah, I was like, and I used to be a teacher, and they go, oh, okay.
So Nanetta had another question, and it's about copycats. How do you deal with copycats? And actually, I receive messages every now and then on Instagram of people saying, oh, look what I saw. This looks just like your thing. Or this looks like they've just copied it from you. And I really appreciate when people send those messages because I think they have our back. But generally, Alicia and I try not to worry too much about that sort of thing.
Yeah, look, it's like us sending letters to Kmart saying, look, we found on Amazon a very similar product to what? Or people contacting, other companies to say, hey, this has been made. At the end of the day, you're going to create things that are probably similar to what other people created. One thing that probably gets us the most is there are people out there who will literally download our resource and put it up exactly the same without changing anything and try and sell it under their name. And
yes, if you see anyone doing that, let us know, because it does
'Cause-
actually, sadly, it does happen, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's not okay. Like you pop into an Etsy store and you're like, what? That is like a word for word the exact same resource as ours. But look, it's water off a duck's back. You can focus on it and fixate on it and let it ruin your day, exactly the same as when things happen in the classroom. I was having the exact same conversation with my daughter this morning because she didn't get as much juice as her little sister and she decided to like have a meltdown. I said, you can choose to focus on the fact that this has happened, or you can focus on the fact that you actually have some juice and you have something yummy to drink and move on. Move on with it, babe.
How much less juice did she have? Like, that could have been such a good measurement lesson. Pour it into a measuring cup and just work out exactly how much less she had.
Yeah, I'm guessing approximately 5 milliliters, maybe 10. But it's precision around here with my dear Lena. Can't be can't be more, can't be less. So yeah, how do you deal with copycats? I think the same way as you deal with negative Nancy's in the classroom. You just take it on the chin.
Okay, next question. Can you name some other teacher creators that you love and the work that they produce? We actually gave this one a little brainstorm before we jumped on the podcast. So we're actually in agreement with these creators. We think they're fabulous.
We do. Our top would have to be the amazing Mrs. Learning Bee, Tam.
Yes. Tam is incredible. And oh my gosh, they have created the Hive, her and her husband, and it's incredible. We have actually been saying to Tam for many years, like, this is such an amazing resource. Please, can we be affiliates? We're not affiliates for anything. That's not how we run our business. But we're like, if you ever get affiliates, please, 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 can we be affiliates? We love this platform that you've created.
I know. I get goosebumps thinking about it because I didn't have anything like this when I was in the classroom. And if I did, I would be subscribed to the Hive because the functionality and the ability, and if you're a techie person and you love everything at the touch of your finger, the Hive is what you want. And it's got games and it's got activities and it's just smart thinking because it's been created by a teacher who gets it, and her software engineering husband that she tells what to do, his mum was an educator. So he gets it too. It's amazing.
Yeah. And she's so specific about things. So if you create something, like code something, and it doesn't work perfectly for teachers, she's like, no, that does not work. Try again. They make sure that they get it just perfect.
Well, don't they say it's the mistakes where you have the most learning when those mistakes happen and you keep plugging at it.
That is true.
Yeah.
So the good news about the Hive is actually we have got a link that gives you a small discount. So we'll pop that in the show notes if that's something that you want to try out. But if you're a kindergarten grade 1 teacher, going on, yes, but kindergarten teacher, this is a must-have tool for you.
Oh, yes. And speaking about kindergarten, we do have the Kindergarten Connections, the lovely Alex. She is got so many resources for if you're starting out in kindy or you're just feeling like you need some fresh content. She has so much amazing games and activities for kindergarten teachers. Like we're talking, I think she's got something like 5,000 or something. It's ridiculous.
Incredible. And she's really big on play-based, which we both really love too. So important for those little ones.
Yes. And then moving on to reading.
Oh, I was going to say reading has to be next. Play-Doh to Plato, which is Malia. She has this account where it's completely dedicated to the science of reading, and it is brilliant. She will talk you through exactly what you need to do, activities that really support the science of reading, how kids learn. And she's not afraid to say, like, I used to do it this way. This is how I was taught when I was training. And these are the mistakes I've made. And this is what I've learned and how we can do better.
Yeah, she's so authentic. And she's so inspiring, and how she delivers the content just does it perfectly in those kind of layman terms that you just go, oh yeah, I get that. I can do this. And you feel empowered and ready to make the change when it comes to teaching reading in your classroom. So if you've been wanting some more guidance and someone to walk you through the science of reading, she is your gal.
She certainly is. Okay, next up we have, which is a bit of a change of direction, Educate and Rejuvenate. Now this creator is all about not only resources and things for your classroom, but also you as a human being. It's amazing.
Yes. And she's got an amazing app. You need that inspiration or you need that affirmation. Yeah, chatting to your girlfriends is great. Even occasionally I have a chat to AI and just brain dump all the things that are going on in my brain. But think of Educate and Rejuvenate, and Kelsey who and her team run that. They're just there to really support and lift up teachers. And she's a life coach as well. So if you love that inspirational motivation, real talk, she's your gal.
Absolutely. And then the last one, we couldn't leave out an organizational style of creator. I think organization is one of the keys to teacher happiness.
100%. And I feel like it was always a focus spot for me at the back of my mind. I was like, how can I work more efficiently? Because there's a lot to do.
Yeah. So the easy teaching tools, Kristen is someone we would recommend for that. She's all about systems, processes, things that make teachers' lives easier to get out the door within your contracted hours, which I really love that. Little simple things that you can do in order to still have that balance of teacher life and work life and still be a good teacher.
Absolutely. And it's like, especially if you're dealing with a different phase in your life, you might have been caring for a friend or caring for a partner or caring for a parent, or you might be becoming a mum or becoming a dad or dealing with illness in the family. All those certain phases can really impact work and your efficiency. And sometimes you just need to reset and need someone to guide you through what tools would work in your classroom for you. We've all been there. Gosh, in my 13, nearly 14 years in the classroom, there were a lot of different phases I went through. And I always found I would grip back onto, how do I get myself organized? How do I get that in control so that I can be more efficient? So,
yeah. And
easy
in an
teaching tool.
uncomplicated way too, because I think sometimes teachers, we like to complicate things a bit.
You reckon? Absolutely. So there you have it. They are some really amazing teacher creators, authors, teacherpreneurs out there that we really admire and think you should go check out.
Yeah. All right. Next up, how
Oh,
did you start your podcast? This will be really interesting because I don't know if we have the same story for this one. So let's see.
Yeah. How did you start your podcast? From Catherine to Ashley.
Well, that's how we started because I said to Alicia, we need to start a podcast. And she was like, you know what? No, because that's just more on our list. And we're not about doing more on our list all the time. And I was like, the people want it. I want it. I want the podcast. So it took me a while to convince her. I would say probably 2 years.
Yeah. Factoring in when we started, I had a 2-year-old. So you were trying to push it from when I had a newborn.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
My headspace wasn't quite there.
We take no prisoners. You've got a newborn. Strap that baby to your chest. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, Olive would have loved it. She's my chill pill, except now she's a 3-anger. But yeah, there's a reason Ashley does our socials and our marketing, because she is highly efficient and she is highly consistent and she is one passionate gal. So when it came to the podcast, I knew it was something important to her, but she was very patient and she kept laying. She planted the seed and she was watering and she was looking after the soil. And she was like, eventually the little sprouts were coming and she went, all right. So our year was last year. Was it last year we started or the year before last?
The year before, because we started towards the end of the year,
That's
like
true.
October.
Yeah.
But I'm actually really glad that we waited because we were able to do it and do it consistently. And one thing that I did say to Alicia, once we start this podcast, we do this podcast and we release an episode every week.
And we never stop.
And
the
never
good thing
stop.
is,
Yeah.
I knew that after working with Ashley for so long, I knew we had to be consistent. And I was like, I'm ready to commit. I'm ready to commit to this relationship on the next level.
And now it's I know it's my favorite part of the week.
Yeah, I love it. I enjoy it for sure.
Yeah, we both love it. So that's great. Thanks, Catherine, for your question.
Now we've got one from Miru.
Yeah.
I hope I pronounced that well. How do you handle students that do not have boundaries in following classroom rules? How do you deal with kids in your home who don't handle home rules? No. Oh, boundaries and classroom rules. That's a fun one, isn't it, Ash?
It's a tricky one. I was actually talking to an old friend a couple of weeks ago at a party, and she was telling me, she's a primary school teacher, about just a diabolical situation that she's in right now. And there's no other way to really describe it, but this is terrifying if you're the teacher of this child in your class. And she said to me, she was telling me all of these things that this child does, says, reacts to, etc. So she said, what's your advice? This is what I've tried. Do you have any tips or like things that I could try? And I just looked at her, and my honest answer was, being the person that's not in the classroom with her and with this child, is that all I could see was the unfairness of all the energy going into this child. And I said, and there's all of those other kids that deserve your support and love and attention as well. And it always goes on this child. And I think that's not a behaviour management tip at all, because I know that this is so easier said than done. But I do wish that back in my days of being in the classroom, that I remembered that the other kids were just as important as this squeaky wheel.
Yeah. I actually wish I utilized more of the free therapy that was given from my school, so I could maybe even just talk it out with someone who had no real even connection to my school or anyone. I think sometimes when you've got a really tough situation that it can become all consuming. And when you're talking about that kid, those groups of kids, whatever it might be, there's a sense of your control is being taken by those kids. I think, how do you handle situations where students that do not have boundaries in following classroom rules? I really believe you've got to draw a firm line, and you've got to draw that line of, actually, this is not how we operate in this classroom. I want to be here for you. I'm on your team. So what do we need to do to get things better? And then if it's so bad, I'm getting administration on board. I'm pulling the parents in and I'm saying, hey, I'm here for your kid. I want to be in their corner. Things aren't working like they should be. And it's impacting everybody in the classroom. It's impacting your child. So what do we need to do to move things forward? And I think I probably sat on the fence a lot at the start of my career, but gosh, if I was in the classroom now, I'd be like, come on, this is not okay. And I'd be doing it firm and fair, right? It's tough love in that sense of, you're important. I see you, I hear you, but we need to do things better.
Do you know, your answer there has got two elements. You've got the boundaries that you're putting into place, but also the other element is that you're connecting with the child on a personal level. And I think you do need to do that with these students in these situations. Try and get to know them as a person first, because that's going to help you with putting in all of these other things.
But you got to think of that Maslow's rise, that sense of belonging.
Yes.
Like sometimes those kids are really pushing back because they don't feel they belong. They don't feel connect. They kind of know that they're doing things that are pushing people away from them. And sometimes they go completely more in the other direction because they really want to feel they belong, but they don't know how to cope with that because their brain isn't yet functioned to be able to deal with that, if we're talking with, anyone in pre-primary years, right? So yeah, it's the connection, but also that firm boundary. I think of my daughter in this sense, like my eldest, she thrives on structure. And if those little structures come down, we see the walls falling off, and my husband and I get together and we go, all right, we're going to kind of put it back in. And then she feels safe. She feels protected because she knows where her expectations are, and she can just soar, and off she goes. And I think sometimes there are kids in the classroom who need that. And I also like to get in touch with the rest of the class and be like, hey guys, I know we've had a really tough few weeks, and I feel like, validate how they might be feeling and be like, I really feel like we need to do something to get things back on track, and add a bit of fun element, especially if you're finding that there might be a particular student who's ruling the roost and it's having a ripple effect on the other kids. I'm thinking of one class in particular. They loved doing STEM activities. I taught all girls and they just love science. So we would just get in there and be like, okay, we're just going to have a STEM afternoon, have time to talk, have time to discuss, have time to collaborate, have time to connect. It's not one size fits all, unfortunately.
No, I mean, if it was, it would be so much easier. We do have an episode about STEM ideas coming up next week, though, since you mentioned it. So that's
Love it.
exciting.
That is.
It is a tricky one. Don't be afraid to ask for the help too if you feel like you need it. I know not all schools it's easy to say to leadership like I need help, but it is important that the staff is a team. And so if you do need the help with your assistant principals or your principal, then call them in, because it's important for all of those children that everybody is getting what they need, not just that one. It's not between you and that one child and the rest of the classes have to fend for themselves. And I think that if you say that to your leadership, then they are a little bit resistant. They're more likely to come in and give you that hand that you need, or even just some strategies. I mean, I know over the years that there's been all sorts of different classes, some classes I've had myself that have been difficult, other classes that other people have had, particular students, etc. And the best part is when you talk about it around the staff room table, or when you talk to your colleagues about it, everyone gives ideas. Have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this? And it can get frustrating, but it is a bit like a mixed bag, and you can try all of these different things and then you'll find something that really works for that student. So it's a bit like tapping into the ideas and all the brains of everyone around you.
Yeah, like the recent episode we did. Like, we're not a one-woman show.
Yes,
Yeah.
like the recent episode that we did about not being a one-woman show. That was episode 95. So 5 episodes ago, if you want to go and have a listen to that one.
Yeah, find episode 95, and you don't have to be a one-woman show. And honestly, if your school offers you, I know the independent schools I work at offers you someone to go talk to someone for yourself, because you don't want to be carrying it all around like a big backpack and weighted pack of stones. So use the resources provided to you. This is coming from a woman who should have done it 10 years ago.
Listen to her. All right,
Yes.
Our next question. The next one I'm excited about.
I'm
It's
gonna
from
ask you.
Karen.
I'm going to ask you this question, Ash. The Uno cards have been a game changer in my classroom. Do you have any more ideas coming? Ba, ba, ba.
Do we? The short answer is yes. The long answer is we created the first set of card activities, and then we created another set, and we thought that we had no more ideas. And then just earlier this year, we created our third set. Now, when we say third set, we created activities for kindergarten all the way through to grade 6. So there's a lot of activities there. I thought we would never get the third set over the line. I thought, how many more ideas could we have? But we do. And we've even got a fourth collection. We've started to tinker with it. So is there more games coming? Yes, there are. There won't be even more until next year. But for right now, we've got so many that you can use. And Karen, that's who asked this question. You're not the only person that has said that these activities have been a game changer in their classroom. They are so much fun. I use them at home with my kids. So do you, Alicia, don't you?
My little 3-year-old's getting into the colour sorting ones and the numbers. And Lena, she's the boss, right? She rules the roost around here. But anyway, card games are for the win. And there are so many teachers out there who are enjoying them, and parents. We even get grandparents who hit us up.
Quite a lot of grandparents, actually.
Yeah, credit to you. Well, I love those grandparents out there getting in there, getting involved and seeing what they know will inspire their grandbabies. So that's exciting. But yeah, watch out. 2026 is when we plan to launch the next ones, because we're recording this at the end of August. It's going to be September, and before you know it, Christmas is going to be knocking at our door.
It sure is. I've actually, for this next version of my 10-year-old loves the games, and he keeps saying to me, Mum, do you want to try and come up with some new activities for the grade 3-4 pack? So he's been giving his input.
The best kind of input.
Yeah.
We'll see if my Lena has any for the kindy pack.
Yes, get her. She needs to jump on at the family business too.
Yeah, got to contribute.
Okay, next question is from Sarah. How do you handle those days when nothing goes to plan? Oh my gosh, I've had so many of these.
I put on a movie for the kids to watch. No, maybe in Dubai. Oh, I was a bit slack in Dubai. No, I wouldn't do that. I'd get outside, to be honest. I'd have a brain break when things aren't going to plan.
Yeah, I mean, I've had days when things don't go to plan and I just throw it all out and I think, oh, well, who cares? We can start again tomorrow and just do some things that I know are going to work. So whether it's going outside or doing an activity that, is a little bit less
laboursome.
Yes.
Brain
less
taxing.
Laboursome. Yes.
Absolutely.
Or like even in my kindergarten class, sometimes I would just go, okay, we're going to do another round of reading groups, which might sound a little bit hectic, but I had those kids so well trained for their reading groups. Everything ran like clockwork that was a really good way to bring everyone back in because they knew what was expected of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have full permission when things aren't going to plan. And if it's a specific lesson and actually calling it with your kids going, I don't know about you, but I feel like we're not really vibing with this lesson. Like it's not working. And the kids will probably go, I'm done, miss. And like you got the kid who's like at the base, like, I'm really tired or like I'm hungry. And you're like, do you know what? Nobody's going to be learning here. So why don't we do something that we all want to do, whether it's getting out the cards and playing some games. Or I had a group of year 2s and we loved directed drawings. And I'd be like, well, let's have a reset. Let's do a directed drawing for 15 minutes.
That's a fabulous idea.
Yeah. So I think sometimes it's having those open-ended tasks or that kind of like backup folder of activities. I used to do things like, okay, we're done. All right, we're doing maths. All right, I want you to think of every single thing that has pairs. I want you to just write down as many things that has pairs. And they're like, oh, pairs of shoes, pairs of socks, pairs of ears. And then they start thinking, oh, there might be pairs of windows in some rooms. I just love open-ended tasks. I love stuff like that. And it's just like 10, 15 minutes enough to reset to move on to your next thing.
Yeah. Even reading. Reading's a good one. Like, come on, everyone, let's sit down or find a spot in this classroom. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're not being dangerous or silly, to listen to this book and we're going to read it.
Like find a spot, lie down, and we're going to, read a chapter in our novel study, or I'm going to put a podcast episode on for the one that you loved, whatever. There's lots of sciencey ones out there nowadays. But yeah, I think give yourself permission to deviate off the course when things don't go to plan. That's what we're saying, Sarah. There's
Absolutely.
a bit of me that actually liked days like that because I felt like you go, oh, great. Who cares? Let's just do something we want to do. Take the pressure off.
Sorry, cough. I've got COVID.
You're looking very well for having COVID. She didn't even give me the heads up. Can't even So now I know. Our next question from Stacey is, what's one classroom organization hack that actually saves you time? And I like to put in there sanity.
Oh, yeah. Saves time and sanity. This just comes to mind because of something that one of my kids did the other day. She came home with her reading folder and I was like, oh, you didn't give your teacher this note that was in the reading folder. She's like, oh, no, my teacher didn't take it out. And I was like, hang on a second. What do you mean? And she was like, oh, the teacher just put your folder in the tub and then my teacher goes through and takes out all of the books and everything and then puts everything back in. And I was like, not efficient for her time.
Does she have 2 tubs? One for notes and one for not notes?
No, the teacher takes everything out.
Oh.
So the teacher just chose not to take something out, take this particular thing out. But I was like, okay, so when I taught kindergarten, this is what I would do. I would have them all come in and put their folder in their color. I'd have a tub for the colored table that they sat on.
Mm-hmm.
They would put it in there, but they would empty it out themselves and they would change their reader themselves.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing it. And that would save like at least half an hour worth of time.
Or at least half an hour time of your EA as well.
Exactly.
There's lots of things they could be doing.
Teach your kids to do stuff. That's the short version of
Yeah.
that hack.
Oh, do you know one that really saved me? And I don't know why it took me so long, but it's along the same vein of books, of when the kids were completing a task, whether it was an independent task, a group task, a whole class task, leave the book open.
Oh,
on that section and make a pile of it on my table or make a pile on your desk, right? If it's on their desk, then I can go around and it's already in the space and they can put it away. It'd be things like their spelling books or grammar books, or if we did reading groups, I'd be like, if you've done anything in writing, there's my designated spot, put your stuff there. And I can mark it and get rid of it. I also used to I worked on a phase where I was like really working on constructive feedback and getting the kids to say if they're doing any activity that involved them going back and redoing it, whether it was a maths problem, whether it was writing a sentence. And I would get big strips of sticky notes and I would do a big highlighter and I'd put that sticky note in so the kid knew that there was feedback there for them. And in the mornings, I would say, I want you to go back, find your sticky note, which is their bookmark, and they could do their feedback.
you know, I was in my daughter's classroom the other day, Alicia, and it was one of those urban classrooms where you look at their books and everything. And same thing, the teacher had put sticky notes in the book and she was explaining it to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this teacher's just like Alicia. It made me think of you. The other thing that I saw in that classroom, which I thought was genius, and this might be so obvious to some people, but I've never thought of it, was on next to their name tag. So she's in grade 2. If they wear glasses, and my daughter does wear glasses, they had just a little image of glasses that stuck on the desk.
Yeah.
Because she comes home sometimes and she's like, oh, blah, 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 didn't have their glasses today. Or I won't say her name, Mrs. Smith told me I had to wear my glasses. I was like, geez, she's really onto it, isn't she? Like knowing who has glasses and who needs to be wearing them all the time. And it's because she's got these little pictures on their desks.
Yes, I have seen that before. I never did it.
I wish I'd done it. I took a little photo. I want to share it on Instagram. I thought that was a great one.
Yeah. And I guess my biggest one is if there's things that you're doing every single week, just make a list and you just have it there automatic and you just do it. I'd print all my homework ready by the end of the week, or I'd print off the maths group stuff. Like, yeah, look, we could talk for ages about classroom organization, but they were 3 very helpful ones that we promise will save you time.
Okay, next question. Alicia, if you could pick one resource every primary teacher must have, and must was in bold, what would it be? This question's from Renee.
Oh, can I do 2?
Yeah.
Oh,
sure.
okay. Actually,
it's our
one.
podcast. You can do whatever you like.
No, one I would, no matter what grade you teach, I reckon you still use these in kindy. I would actually, and I've written a whole blog post about this, and I love them still. And I just found a batch of them at home to pull out for my daughter. It's mini whiteboards.
Yeah.
Every classroom should have mini whiteboards. They were just my go-to for my whole class instruction because everyone had their whiteboard. Even like I felt as a security blanket for some kids. They just would hold on to it and they'd be like, okay, it's like my little protection shield. You don't have to put your hand up. Like just flick it, show me. No one else has to see. And I just felt I got a lot more constructive feedback and I could see instantly where kids were on task or kids were having trouble. And it just was so valuable in my teaching. I couldn't speak more highly of them. If you're not using mini whiteboards, you need to go buy some.
Yeah.
Now.
I would agree with you. They're great. Actually, at a school I worked at, we used to call them show me boards.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, when you were like, oh, show me, I was like, oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, mini whiteboards. I think obviously our card games are a must for math. You can have your kids so engaged and learning. If we're just talking about a resource that's not an actual activity, but something that you can use across all different subjects. Yeah.
Whiteboard. Do it.
Mini whiteboards.
It's a good one. And then we're going to do one more. And if you have loved this episode and you've got a question to ask us, now that you know that I love these sorts of episodes, you can always send us some more questions and we could maybe do another one of these.
I mean, we're not going to do another one unless people ask for it.
No, that's right. So Alicia is asking the village out there, give me more questions. I love these episodes. All right.
Well, if you've gotten to this part of the podcast, perhaps you're loving the episode too.
Yes. All right. Last
Final
question.
question.
So which school event is your favourite? Book week, sports day, or end of year concert, or something completely else? Jenny wants to know. What's yours, Ash?
Well, Jenny, it's not sports day. It's not the athletics carnival, that is for sure. I don't like athletics carnivals. I don't like carnivals.
Well, I was chatting to one of my teacher friends and she had these loop earplugs and I was like, oh, I got those for going to sleep. She goes, oh yeah, I stole these off my daughter because I now need them for sports day next week. I was like, oh my God, that's so clever. Yeah, put earplugs in because I always end up with a migraine or a headache at the end of sports day.
I always end up with a headache too, but is that a bit of a conflict of interest? Can you still hear?
Oh, yes. If anyone out there has loop headphones, they're not made to be completely block out. It kind of just takes for people there with they have a whole set for sensory needs or just to take out that overbearing sound. But you can still hear people talking. Like when you've got your AirPods in, but you don't have them on the complete block out sound.
Yeah. Got it.
Get a pair of them if auditory. I've got worse as I've got older. I can't handle it.
It's the wind. It's the wind that kills it for me. You're out there, athletics carnival, it's freezing cold, the wind, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, but what's our favourite? Well, what's your favourite?
Oh, out of those three, I find end of year concerts just too stress inducing, the build up for it, but the actual event is great. Book week's just fun, isn't it? We've just wrapped up book week in Australia.
Yeah, book week is fun.
It is.
I love an end of year concert. That's what I'm going to lock in. I love everything Christmas. So I love everything, performing, getting out there on a stage. So that's what I would put down.
End of year concert. There you go. And I'm just flit and float between different events that happen throughout the year and go, that was fun or that was terrible. I know they've done colour runs at some of the schools I've been at.
We did one of those earlier this year. That was fun.
Can I just say, being a parent, I loved Mother's Day. That was fun.
What part of the Mother's Day did you love?
Oh, I just love it when they all get up. And I mean, my daughter's in equivalent to pre-kindy, she's,
Yeah, preschool still.
Yes. And they were singing songs and their little faces lighting up. And then they came down and showed you their presents and you put your little birthday crown on. And then this teacher knew how to run the show because the kids had made scones, but the kids had also made little chocolate balls. So the kids went out with the chocolate balls while all the mums got together and ate the scones and had a chat while the kids were like, we can't wait to go outside and play and eat our chocolate. Have fun.
Smart teacher. That's experience for you, isn't it?
That is. But I think just that sweetness of being on the other side was really nice to see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's a wrap for our very first Ask Me Anything episode / our 100th episode. I think it's time for us to go and eat some celebratory cake.
Yeah, absolutely. Go find some rainbow cake, hey? Or a rainbow ice cream cake. Would that be more your tea, Ash?
Ooh, yeah, I'm not super into cake.
Yeah. I've actually just eaten cake for the last 3 days, so I probably shouldn't have any more cake.
Well, that being said, there are rainbows ahead, our friends.
And together, we're unstoppable. Thanks so much for stopping by. Bye.